More on this, though. Let's welcome in Democrat strategist Lee Neves and president of the American Principles Project, Terry Schilling. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on Wake Up America Weekend. Terry, I'll start with you. Bipartisan agreement in the House. Is this much ado about nothing? Because, is it going to go anywhere in the Senate at the end of the day?
Well, I think it's got a real shot of passing, and it's got a shot of passing in the Senate. This is a very rare thing, right? It's tough to get to 60 votes, but the reason it has a great shot of passing is because of how dangerous TikTok is. This truly is a threat to our national security. If you look at the user agreement on TikTok, they collect so much data on us, right? It's not just about the propaganda, although that's concerning as well, but they know your location, they know your IP address, they know your internet history, right? That's very concerning. To allow our enemies to have, but the CCP should not be able to have corporations operating in this country without any checks or balances.
Lee, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
We see a lot of creators on TikTok speaking out about this. They're worried about their ban. They're going to lose their favorite app. You know, there'll be no scrolling, dancing, any of that.
No dancing?
Yeah, I know. Do you think Americans are receiving the right messaging when it comes to the severity of what Congress is seeing?
Well, look, I'm not going to lie. I love my TikTok. I think maybe this is a case of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Obviously, China is a threat, and there are ways to deal with that threat of China. We're talking about strengthening our allies in the region, a variety of other ways to deal with the threat, both IP, foreign policy, you name it, with China. But with TikTok, it is, first of all, banning it's kind of un-American. Banning an entire app, that's what China would do. China would censor. China would censor all those creators on TikTok. There was the story of one small business that was about to go out of business, and then they blew up on TikTok, and now 90% of their business, their thriving, comes from TikTok. And that is a story that is just replicated multiple times over across TikTok. Obviously, the data collection, everything, it is a threat. I think there's a better way to deal with it. I think what you're doing here is you're going to hurt a lot of small businesses. You are going to censor a lot of people who use TikTok to communicate. 2/3 of people under 30 use TikTok. And it's not only for small businesses. It's not only for people to dance. You don't want to see me dance on TikTok. That should be outlawed, actually, to be perfectly honest. But one of my clients is the district attorney of San Joaquin County. They're currently using TikTok for a one pill kills campaign on fentanyl awareness. So people are actually literally using this app to help save lives as we currently speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, no one's arguing that the platform can't be used for good, but that is not the point. It's totally irrelevant because there could be an American company that can create an app to do the exact same thing. This is about China collecting data on every single American that's using it. That's the point, not how good TikTok is. But I do got to switch over now because there's a very short segment about former President Donald Trump. He was vocal on opposing this bill, giving the growth it could give Facebook. This is what he had to say on Newsmax. Just take a listen to this.
You have to look at Facebook. Facebook is the enemy of the people. I don't want Facebook to get bigger because I think Facebook is an equal threat. And that includes with China, because if China wants to know anything about what Facebook knows, they're going to give them the information.
So that's the president on with our own Greg Kelly. So, Terry, I'll come back to you. Do you have the same concerns that Trump has? Because that's also a good point that he's making.
No, I'm totally with President Trump that we have to do this in orders of magnitude, though, right? We need to be reining in all of social media, right? There are so many impacts. We are still discovering the totally addictive nature of social media and how that's impacted society, right? These social media companies are pushing all types of really dangerous information on children, but especially TikTok. I think that, if we're going to start regulating big tech, I think we should start with the foreign-owned companies like like TikTok that are pushing really harmful things on kids, right? We have kids now that are developing stutters and psychosis and gender dysphoria off of these apps, and we need to crack down on the foreign apps before we start cracking down on the American apps. But I think all of big tech needs to be regulated and reined in, and I share President Trump's concern. I just think that we should start with our foreign adversaries first. Government is founded by men to secure our rights. Secure our rights from whom? From bad actors in the private sector, both foreign and domestic. So I think you got to do all of the above approach here.
Lee, I'm going to come to you. We have 30 seconds left. What's your response? Do you agree with Terry there?
Last time I agreed on anything with Donald Trump, he owned the New Jersey Generals and the USFL. I think Mr. Trump is correct. And I don't think with social media, there's a lot of harmful things we need to look at. You don't do it piecemeal. You look at it, you do it all at once.
That's fair enough. I can't completely argue with you, Lee. Neves, Terry, Schilling, thank you very much. And it is St. Patrick's Day Eve, so may the luck of the Irish be with you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.